Welcome back to the Billy Meier Books YouTube channel. In this episode, Vivienne and myself, Mike Whelan, will be discussing Hygiene of the Psyche. Creation energy animates our personality and our consciousness, and from our consciousness emerges the psyche. And the psyche is not an organ in our body like our heart or our liver or something like that. The psyche is a state of thinking. And the psyche is formed through thoughts, feelings, emotions, dispositions, all according to our own free will. And generally speaking, in life, we wash our clothes and our bodies and groom ourselves before we meet with others. But how do we clean our state of mind? Maybe Vivienne, you could start with that.
I love thinking about that because isn't it strange that we find it acceptable? You know, it's polite and it's self-respecting to clean your body, clean your clothes. When you go out to see somebody, you go to visit them, or you go to a lecture or a meeting or dinner. But we don't have the same expectation about keeping the state of our mind clean for the sake of other people and ourselves. We don't seem to think that it's, you know, it's quite normal to turn up or tidy and clean, but grumpy or anxious, or even in a positive way, sort of unbalanced, overexcited, or euphoric because good things that have been happening. Sure. We think nothing of that, you know, and so I like to think of it that way. And yes, how do we clean? I mean, what is the psyche? I know that the definition that's provided in Billy's book, The Psyche, explains it as a half-material factor and block in the material body, which regulates and administers the thoughts and the feelings of the material consciousness. Okay, now I still find that hard to understand. And
Sure.
I'm going to point out right now that I cannot explain in great depth what the psyche is, except that I relate to it as sort of like the state of mind. If I'm feeling tense, if I'm, depressed, that's a reflection of my psychical state, which is caused by my feelings, preceded by my thoughts. So the point is, the main point for me here in bringing this up, this thing that I really don't thoroughly understand, I couldn't explain it in detail, is simply that we have control. If we think neutral positive thoughts, and that's the key, if we learn to think neutral positive thoughts, they create the feelings. Always a feeling is preceded by a thought, even if it's an unconscious one that we're naturally unaware of. And from the thoughts, the psyche is, there's an impression made on the psyche. Somebody, I think it might have been Philia, described it as sort of like a piece of clay that is impressed by, if you have a negative feeling, it sort of impresses itself into this thing and molds it, and that's the shape of your psyche until it changes because you've had thoughts of another kind that make their impression. So it's a wonderful thing to think that you are not stuck with that state of mind, and other people don't have to be stuck with your state of mind either. So if you make a habit of the neutral positive thinking, then you can really fulfill that politeness, that self-respect and respect for other people. So the most obvious thing, as you have well experienced with your meditation, is to create neutral positive thoughts as a result of meditation. That's what meditation achieves for us because it's based on reality. And I was pleased to see a line in Billy's text that basically says that the psyche cannot be harmed by thoughts of a real nature, but only of an unreal nature. So, where do we get thoughts of an unreal nature? They're based on delusions, they're based on belief. So if you have a belief-based way of thinking, you cannot have a healthy state of the psyche because it's not based in reality. So anything that facilitates thinking in a neutral positive way is going to help your psyche. So even if you're not particularly good at meditating, you haven't got a discipline that allows you to clear your thoughts and become still in your consciousness, which allows a clean perception of reality, there are other exercises that Billy offers in the book The Psyche and elsewhere. He calls the 3 golden rules. So one way that you can bring about a neutral positive state quite relatively easily is you bring up a wish dream. So he's talking about, or a wishful dream, depending on what kind of translation you want to provide.
What does that mean, wishful dream?
Okay, so he's talking about, we all know about, we probably often call it fantasizing, where we basically dream up something that just pleases us, just to make ourselves feel good. So people have done this since their childhood, and he says, think of that dream, what's that dream? And it's something that's good and beautiful and pleasing and uplifting. So it needs to have those good qualities, but it's just for your pleasure. It's a pleasure dream that you not just have randomly when you're feeling bad, you do it just to make yourself feel good again. It's something that you actually practice when you are feeling good as well.
And this affects the psyche?
And this with repetition, because once you've practiced it, well, immediately it should make you feel good when you're engaging in it. But when you've practiced it, it becomes so firm and so sure in your consciousness. The imagery is practiced and practiced and practiced, so that the minute you start to have a negative thought or a negative feeling, you just switch it on. Bang.
Do you practice that yourself?
I do.
Oh.
And it's just pleasure. It's good, healthy pleasure. And this creates neutral, positive thoughts, thus feelings, thus a state of the psyche. I got a lot of my thoughts about the psyche by translating the might of the thoughts, because it goes through this process over and over and over again. And in relation to people who are suffering from psychical disorders, it's so important that they find ways of achieving those neutral positive thoughts. So that's one relatively easy one. The second one, he says, the second golden rule of the 3 is to smile. And even though it might feel false if you're really not happy.
Like a fake smile or something?
Yeah, he says do it anyway, because sooner or later your consciousness will get the idea, basically.
Like a training?
Yeah. So it's like it becomes a trigger for the right state. To begin with, it won't be, just feel weird and forced, but eventually it will be accompanied by, because you're doing it for that reason. So you're telling your consciousness, now's the time for happiness, now's the time for neutral positive thoughts. Okay. And after a while, and having just come out of your wish dream, perhaps it's much easier for that to be cued. The third of the 3 golden rules that we can use to create neutral positive thoughts relatively easily is hold our head high. A good Christian does this.
Because you're under the thumb of God, right?
You shouldn't stand up because you're not great. God is great, right?
Yeah.
But if you do that, it feels so much better. And look straight into the eyes of the person you're speaking to.
Like we are now.
Like we are now. Don't sort of go, I can't look at them because I'm just a miserable sinner, Look straight in. And then perceive all your surroundings very exactly. The people, the animals, the plants, the objects.
Okay, so let me ask you, because this is great. Neutral positive thinking, how to do it. Number 1, the wish dream. Number 2, smile. And then number 3, hold your head up high and directly look into
direct
the eyes.
gaze. And observing things very precisely, which is seeing things as they are, which means that you're getting a truth-based perception, which leads to truth-based thoughts, which are neutral positive.
Well, if you've ever had a question on how to develop neutral positive thinking, Vivienne is now, that's great. I didn't know that either. So thank you for that lesson, the 3 golden rules.
Yep. But there are so many other things that he explains that we can do. He talks about walking barefooted on the grass.
On the grass, wet
nature.
grass, yeah.
Yeah. singing, walking through a forest, shouting out loud, basically opening yourself up to the experience of life. You know, music, poetry. One of the quotes I have here is, I will look at it exactly.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got to put my glasses on, which I can see very clearly. Okay, in The Way to Live, and it's number 201, anyone who's got that book. Odes and harmonious sounds please the human being's psyche, but truth, knowledge, love, peace and harmony educate the consciousness and please the psyche at the same time.
Wow.
You know, I love that.
Yeah. That is good.
So anything that pleases the psyche is good, beautiful and truth-based. So music, poetry, art, anything like that. So if you're not practicing meditation, all those things are really healthy things to do.
You mentioned meditation. That was one of the points on my card here was, meditation as a daily routine is really important for the maintenance of the psyche and things like that. So if people can learn to just take a few minutes out of their life, 20 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, whatever they could, afford, time for yourself. I mean, we talked about that in the self-responsibility, taking care of yourself. We're so busy, we have, as we get more technology, life becomes more and more busy, more and more things to do. And it's important just to take 10 minutes in the morning or 20 minutes in the morning to sit down and have some quiet time and meditate. If you don't know how to meditate, you can just start by sitting. Just start by sitting comfortably on a pillow, on the ground, or in a chair, and spend some time in meditation. It's something so simple for the maintenance of the psyche, for the maintenance of the physical body, and it's something easy, doesn't cost anything, that we can sit and do something for ourselves each morning. That's something that, and it takes some discipline. I mean, I myself too, sometimes I wake up for my meditation and I don't want to do it. And sometimes I go against that and I do it, and other times I don't do it. So, and of course I feel guilty later. But meditation as a daily routine would really help maintain your psyche and maintain the health of the body, and also teach you about your thinking and your thoughts and things like that. That's also an important aspect of maintaining the psyche.
I'd like to interject there and just say that feeling of guilt wouldn't be any good for your psyche.
Yeah,
you just
true.
have to be neutral, positive, and recognise, okay, I didn't do it today. Tomorrow, I will try again because it is a good thing to do.
Yes.
But guilt is a waste of time and will just impede you.
I know that, but I'm just being honest with people.
Yeah,
that,
sure.
I do meditate regularly, but sometimes, I don't want to, or I've worked late and I didn't have enough sleep, and so I don't do it, and then I do feel guilty later that, my other voice got the better of me and I decided not to do it, or, I didn't have enough will, I hadn't created enough will to get that done. So I know it's not right, but...
so you can just neutrally recognise that it's wrong.
Yes.
Just to think, okay, that wasn't helpful.
Yeah.
Just note it.
Yes.
That's the neutral way of observing that.
Instead of feeling guilty inside, beating myself. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's an area I can prove in.
Oh, I'm sure I do the same. I know I do the same thing. That's why I know how to describe it.
Right.
I feel guilty and, angry and
right.
You wretched person, why do you do these things?
Sure. Well, we're trying to instruct people, that are watching this videos that, we go through those same things, and I'm sure
yes.
they,
Absolutely. I mean, I feel well acquainted with some of the teaching because I need it so much.
Yeah.
And I've spent time concentrating on, and everything that I've written about or talked about in a video is something that I've just, I've had to sort of learn in order to describe.
Yeah.
It's work in progress.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah. So there's so much I don't understand and haven't done yet, but that's of course how it will be, because there's so much to correct in our state on Earth.
Yes. Any other points on hygiene of the psyche that you had you wanted to go over?
I probably had many.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so perceiving reality as it really is the main thrust of my my point. But in light of the thought, it's helpful to understand that it says the psyche absorbs everything which is conveyed to it by the consciousness. So absorbing, it's like a sponge. That's another analogy. And as Mike was explaining before, it's not an organ. These are just analogies to help us understand how it works.
Yes. So from that example is our thinking, whatever we're thinking, positive or negative, directly affects the psyche.
Well, yes, I mean, everything happens so quickly, it's like saying, but it goes via feelings, as I understand it. It's thoughts, feelings. But it all happens so quickly that for all intents and purposes, it's direct,
Yeah.
Think well and your psyche will become well.
Yeah.
Yes. It's as simple as that.
Oh, good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
That it for hygiene of the psyche? I think we've covered
it probably, because we'll touch on that again in probably many of the other topics we talk about.
Yes.
As we say, they're all related.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Okay, good. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this this video on hygiene of the psyche. Vivienne Legge and Mike Whelan, we're here in Switzerland. It's May of 2025, and thank you for joining us.